Hello and welcome to 90's podcast, your podcast for all things Newcastle United, usually hosted by two lifelong Newcastle United supporting buddies, myself, D-Man, usually joined by Jefferson, but as usual, he's not, well, not as usual, but he's not here. This is the last pod that he's not going to be here for. He'll be back for the Arsenal game. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'm joined today by two other guests. Justin, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, good yourself.
Yeah, not bad, man, not bad. And we've got Big Yinks in the building returning. How you doing, my friend?
Good King, man. I'm all right, man. Taking it day by day, man. Result by result.
Yeah, you're good in good spirits after today.
The man them have got onto me still because I got United fans and Arsenal fans around me. So the United
Right.
fans are talking much. The Arsenal fans are quiet today.
I
Just
wonder
leaving me
why.
to get all the corn.
Fair enough, fair enough. Big up Andrew in the building. But yeah, get involved in the chat today, as much as you can, because it was a bit of an uninspiring afternoon. We're here to review the game today. Obviously, we went to travel down to Bournemouth, our longest journey, I think, in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the travelling fans are regretting that journey because it finished Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 0. Big up Scants in the building from the Red Pitch podcast, always in the building, always showing support and that. But yeah, listen, 0-0, a very uninspiring game. I actually thought that the Leeds game couldn't get much. That game we couldn't see much worse. But this one gave it a run for its money, probably even worse. But yeah, we're gonna have to try get through as much as we can. Big up Connor in the building. Come with the questions, but we'll get to that. But hold tight with that question. Yeah, man. So 0-0. Obviously, after the exploits of Thursday against Barcelona, we did wonder how we would react against Bournemouth. Would we see the same energies, be up for it as well? But before we go into the lineup, overall thoughts on the game itself, Justin. Just a brief summary.
I think tactically, we've always struggled against Bournemouth. Obviously, I was discussing it a couple of minutes ago in regards to, a couple of years ago, and Trippier was shouting at the fans. The fans were shouting back. Justin Kluivert ruined us at St James's Park away from home. He scored a hat trick against us. I think I dare say if you look at it performance wise, yeah, the performance obviously wasn't really up to scratch. The team selection, we could go on and on about that. But to get a point away from home at our, a longer trip away before the match, maybe I would have took it. I'd have took a 0-0 all day long. Do you know what I mean? But then you look at the performance, and then it's another story. It's a 50-50 for me in regards to this. But we can't stew on just one result. I know Leeds was awful. Aston Villa wasn't much better, but we notoriously start slow. But if you look at it as a one-off match, obviously, Barcelona was the big test. This for me was more of a bonus. Could we have won it if we put on Bruno, if we put on Joey? Maybe if we put them on after 60 minutes. However, we've got Bradford. I don't know what's going to happen at Bradford in regards to team selection, but then we've got Arsenal. Maybe Bruno and Joey were in the red zone, and that's why they didn't play at all. But we had enough to win the match in regards to the 11 that we've put out. But I think Eddie made us resolute and said, we're not gonna try and beat Bournemouth, but we don't want to lose. If that makes sense, yeah.
Okay. Big up Catch, by the way, from the Catch Up. Don't know if you guys know his content. Him and SB, big up. They do regular content, all through football related matters. Very good podcast. So big up Catch as well. Big up the McKenzie family. Said evening lads, imagine travelling all that way for a draw. Yep, agreed. Scants. Lack energy and performance after a big game again, as I said on Monday, but I'm a bully. I agree in terms of the energy. I think the energy, there was nothing wrong with the energy. I just think it was other things that let us down. Connor, big up Connor, 1 win in 14, 1 win in 9 in the league, which we'll touch on as well. But Yinks, what was your overall summary of the game? Before we get into it properly, what was your overall thoughts?
Bland. No, my biggest fears are starting to come to realization in terms of, again, what we saw in pre-season is now coming at fourth in the season. Um, we don't have. I don't know when it started, but I always think of Everton. That's the team I think that's completely neutralized us a couple of years ago, whereby we didn't know what to do when it comes to attacking, and we started to see a lot more. Like even last year, there was long spells where we couldn't formulate systematic attacks against a multitude of different teams. I don't want to say, yeah, Bournemouth is our bogey team. We just have to be quite honest about that. But my biggest fear is just that we can't show sequence of attacks within these for me. And again, it shows no shots in the second half. For a European team, regardless, is abysmal. Again, I'm not Eddie Howe out, so I just want to put it out there. However, I'm wondering what is going on with these players because essentially Murphy cannot hold the season by himself. It's just not feasible. Harvey Barnes, again, I'm not even though he didn't play much today, he's one of the elders in the team. So I expect more from him. This is just a Harvey Barnes soliloquy, so I'll take that out of the way. But in terms of today's game, I never got to watch the first half because I was in church, so Lord forgive me, had my earpiece in and I was listening to it. Then I got home, I got to watch the second half. And yeah, the second half weren't great at all. There was no style of play. The defenders were phenomenal, by the way. It was amazing to see Chow. Botman was great. Burn did well. All a little lackluster. Livramento needs to show a bit more impetus when attacking wise. Centre midfield, Tonali, Tonali doing Tonali stuff, breaking up the play. The only thing about Tonali here and there, which I don't like, sometimes he does loses the ball stupidly. However, in terms of the energy, being ferocious, that was there. Miley was playing too safe for my liking, which kind of destabilized the team. My brother from another mother, Willock.
Listen, we'll get into the individual performances, right?
Oh, sorry.
Because no, it's all right, it's all right. We got Michael in the building. He said we need to play to Nick's strengths. Great at the back again. Interesting. And Mackenzie Family said Eddie still loves Bournemouth. He's an undercover agent. But listen. I predicted a point at the beginning of before the ball was kicked. Could we get up for the game as much as Barcelona? Obviously, I think it would be different, but what I wanted to see was how line up, right? And we'll get to that in a minute. But he made 7 changes. I don't think there's much wrong with the energy in the game, but we lacked so much creativity again, especially away from home, which seems to be a problem. Defensively solid, like you said. I thought the centre back pairing, we played 3 at the back, but Malik Chow and Botman coming, I thought, showed good promise. But yeah, listen, am I disappointed that we didn't win? Obviously, you want to win every game that you play. Like Justin said, we've got a horrific record against Bournemouth anyway. And considering that they're in form, one of the form teams in the league, we nullified their threats. But I would like to see more offensively, and that's something that Howe has to figure out quickly, because we can't be. It's good we're not looking leaky. We look solid, one of the best defenses in the league, but there has to be a balance between defense and attack. Yeah. But let's get into the lineup itself, right? Because he made 7 changes, right? Now, a lot of people expected rotation. We knew his force with Fabian Schär going to miss a few games, whatever. But Yinks, were you expecting that many changes? Or did he make too many changes in your opinion?
Yeah, he and also changed the formation as well. I didn't understand Murphy's role in any way, shape, why it was necessary.
What formation did we play? We played 3 at the back, yeah, with the wing backs. But then what did we
Yeah,
do of in the midfield and attack?
I don't understand. It seems like Willock was supposed to play out wide-ish to a degree, and I think Murphy up front. I didn't really. I don't know. It was. Yeah, I don't know. Unless you can tell me, I don't know. Personally, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, to me, it sounded like Murphy was up front because, like yourself, I missed the first half. I was out coaching my son's football game. Came up for the second half. But Justin, what were your thoughts on the formation and what you made the changes?
I think a lot of people have said in the past that Eddie Howe's a one formula person, so to speak. So obviously, when we see something different from him, it's kind of like when we saw against Arsenal in the League Cup. Everybody was like, "Oh wow, what's this?" Another example was Brighton away when we went D-man. Remember, I was on the train and people were trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
So in regards to me, whenever you try something different, it's like people's mind gets spun. But as the Inks has said, you kind of didn't understand what was going on, because I think even today, Walt Marder was playing the 10 role, so to speak. You had Murphy playing further up front. And then in regards to the defense, I think without the ball, it looked like 5 at the back. With the ball, it looked like 3 centre backs and obviously 2 wing backs. So at the end of the day, we were really trying to nullify Bournemouth's strengths, because the last thing we want is Semenyo breaking through and using his pace and using his prowess to score a goal against us. I just think, just like Leeds, we were a bit too cautious, if that makes sense. I mean, you look at the XG, and I'm not a stats person, although I will use them to back up my evidence.
Horrific.
It was 0.14. That's the lowest in any Premier League game this season. And at the end of the day, we can laugh at Shesko, we can laugh at, X, Y, and Z. But when we're creating that little chances and we're crying out for a Walt Marder penalty, that, in my opinion, would have been a soft penalty. So if you look at the physics, if you look at the logic, if somebody's pulling you backwards, you're not going to dive forwards, are you?
He exaggerated it. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a soft penalty. But we're crying out for that because that's the only clear-cut opportunity that we kind of had, apart from Murphy in the first half when he shot it at near post, if that makes sense. So for me, in regards to the lineup, it was like, oh, it's this again. And you kind of know what's going to happen next, where you're not going to be on the front foot. But what I just quickly want to say is that we've changed as a football club. We've changed from the counter-attacking 4-3-3 to something, because people expect that now. So we have to have a plan B.
And that's what I'm going to say. So
Yeah.
do we have to give Howe some sort of credit for trying to switch up the formation and the tactics, and also utilising his squad? Because we've always said Howe picks a predictable lineup. We know what he's going to do. We know formation. Yeah. Now he's gone completely the other way, and it seems like the fans aren't happy. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, to me, it's good that he's trying to trust the squad. And he's trying with the squad with the lineup that he picked. Maybe that was the best formation to use. Obviously, it didn't pay off. Yeah. And had we got the penalty, we wouldn't be complaining. But we maybe be fortunate to get the win. But Yinks, do we give him some sort of credit for that as well?
No, I can't give him credit because it's his fault for 3 games that we didn't win. Leeds, obviously Barcelona again. Today, Barcelona and Leeds, he got it wrong, and we're still early in the season, so tinkering to that to that magnitude, to me, doesn't make any sense personally. A lot of players haven't got that much minutes under their belt, and it seems like he's just making the wrong decisions. Again, Leeds 5 at the back, that don't make sense. Yeah, it seems like there's certain players he has trust in, there's some players he doesn't have trust in. I generally thought that he would have played 5 at the back against Barcelona. And then in this game, probably come back to playing Shaw and Burn, obviously prior to Shaw and Burn, Shaw getting injured. But again, it's just not making any sense at all in any way, shape, or form. And even playing Willock today in the position that he was playing in, it still doesn't make sense to me. That because is he playing off far on the left? Was he playing in the midfield? What does he want to offer? So logically, I can't explain what he's doing at all. And again, maybe we don't actually have the squad. Obviously, we have injuries. Maybe we don't have the squad to tinker at this moment of time, especially Bournemouth's a big game, because teams are getting a lot better now. This is not Bournemouth of 2 seasons ago or Bournemouth of last season. Teams are getting better now, and essentially we have to really do well in our domestic leagues. The Champions League is a plus. And we need to do our best, but it doesn't seem as if Howe is making the right decisions.
Okay. Big up Queen in the building. Like she said, hit the like button. Let the Geordie Nation know where we are. Appreciated, Queen. Michael said, surely Visser is when fit has to play with Nick, but it means a formation change and someone misses out. And which we'll get to, because at the end of the day, I believe that once Visser's back, and even Ramsey, you'll see a completely different setup from Eddie Howe. And maybe now's the time to tinker it, to try and find out what's your best solution here and there, who can be trusted to play where. It's early doors, but it's more points dropped, which could be key. Mackenzie, Miley was very quiet, forgot he was on the pitch, and Willock, which we'll get to as well. Okay, so listen, there wasn't much to talk about in terms of the game itself because both teams didn't really fashion any clear-cut chances. I mean, in the first half, from what I saw, there was a chance when Baltimore had held up and played Murphy in, and he should have come central. But he's drifted out wide again and wasted opportunity. Now, to me, that's Murphy's problem. He's not that killer. He doesn't trust himself in front of goal. When he's got no time to think about things, he looks good. But give him time to. He's like Martinelli. Give them time to think, and they mess things up, or they make the wrong decision. So that's something he needs to work on. Yes, he's 30 years old, but he still needs to work on things. You know what I mean? But you said, Justin, that the penalty was soft. I'll ask for those in the chat as well. Do you think we should have been given the penalty, or do you think we've been fortunate to get that? What are you saying?
I'll say it's a penalty. Anywhere else on the pitch, it's a free kick. Essentially, there's no need for him to touch him, and I told him, we're not that much of a combat sport where you can like hold someone's shirt. Once you see the shirt being pulled, it's like you're a defender. Why are you pulling this? You don't need to hold him. And also I understand it. Waldemar did play up, but anywhere else on the pitch, like I think Casemiro got sent off or he got a yellow card for pulling someone's shirt.
Yeah.
So essentially, the rules have got to work. Well, there's got to be the same rules for everything. I understand that it's a soft penalty, but a penalty is a penalty. If you shoot, it's a foul.
I agree. Like Mackenzie's family says, he thinks it could have been. I think he could have carried on with the play, but by law, I'd say that was a pen. As agreed. Listen, he's pulled him back. Yeah. So to me, yes, he's exaggerated it, but if he doesn't fall down, he probably doesn't get noticed anyway. No. But I think it was a foul, and it seems to be like, listen, it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? But it's a second league game consecutively where VAR has looked at something and got the decision wrong. Look at the Harvey Barnes one against Wolves when the man just assaulted him. Yeah,
that's disgusting.
Yeah,
literally accosted him.
Nothing gets given.
Give him the Stone Cold Stunner.
You know what I mean? WWE and that. Michael said it depends on your badge on your shirt if you get a penalty for that incident. Fair enough. Go on. Sorry. No, go on.
I think the only thing is, if Waltmar fell backwards, if you look at it logically, if you bring the physics and the science into it, if he fell backwards, you think, hang on a minute, this guy's pulled him and he's yanked him. But you pull forwards, it's like, do you know what I mean? You're pulling a jack in the box.
But you're trying to get loose, isn't it? You're trying to get loose from the
I hear it.
But if Joe Linton was to do this, I've seen, in the centre circle, and he's chasing you, he does this. They're like the free kick straight.
It's a booking.
Yeah, he got that against Barcelona, didn't he?
You see the play start doing this, like what? Just got a little pull from Joe Linton. Like, come on.
But then on the flip side, Malik Chow, should he have seen red?
Yes.
No, I won't say he should have seen red.
What?
I would say, you know what? Because that was, to be fair, because I didn't watch the first half. I don't know if that was like the first yellow was a stupid handball call. This one would have been harsh because it was it would have been harsh. Like at least like 3. If he did something else, then red card. But I don't think it's
clumsy, bro. Clumsy and walking a tightrope, bro. Like we said, WWE would be proud of today's action because there's more wrestling than football. It's true. But no, I think it was very fortunate to stay on the pitch. You're on a yellow card. You can't be making them clumsy challenges like that, especially on the edge of the box, bro.
You're risking it. It's a tightrope.
Credit to Hal because he hauled him up straight away. Like put themselves on. I said, we're not running that again. But but I think I'm alright. I think Pope made a good save late on from the free kick.
From Clivert.
Yeah. But let's talk about the defensive display because end of the day, that's what 4 clean sheets out of 5.
Correct.
So you know what I mean. That's one of the best defensive records in the league. It feels good knowing that we've got a team that's defensively solid, right? So, and the fact that he's taken out Fabian Schär, gone to a back 3, and we still haven't conceded. They slotted him perfectly. And on the flip side, if you saw the Barcelona game as well, the goal that we scored started from the 2 centre backs. Their aggressive forward passing started to move off. Good move, by the way. End up with the goal. Like PDK said, big up PDK. I thought our defense was top notch today. Can we take positive to think that we can carry this on through the season and have one of the best defensive pairings, let's say, back 3, back 2, ever in the league? Justin?
I think for me, obviously, if you look at the 21-22 season, how many draws did we have? We have about 12, 13 draws, and we still hit top 4. For me personally, in regards to the keeper, Nick Pope, a lot of people are crying out for Ramsdale to start. And I'm like, I said this last week, why? We've got 4 clean sheets out of 5. Pope's not made a mistake. Yes, distribution can be improved on. However, as I said last week, in regards to me as a goalkeeper coach, knowing that my goalkeeper's not conceded in 4 out of 5 goals, am I going to drop him? Absolutely
Much more.
not. Is the answer. Do you know what I mean? So it's a foundation, and it's a foundation that builds good teams. If we win 1-0, do I care? No. If we win 4-5-0, do I care? No, it might be a more complete performance, yes. But if we win 1-0 with a scrappy goal, absolutely I'm taking those 3 points and I'm laughing at opposition fans or anybody else that wants to chuck it. Do you know what I mean? So in regards to, we didn't even look that bad defensively against Barcelona. I think in regards to the first goal, in regards to Rashford's first goal, I think Fabian Schär had a concussion. He had a head injury.
Yeah,
So of
show with
course,
the zombie. He had a
yeah,
Yeah,
zombie moment. He just
yeah,
started to
yeah.
do the and
he looked like 3 a.m. coming out of fabric. I beg your pardon,
yeah.
going somewhere like Brixton, going to Morley's or somewhere like that. You know what I mean? So for me personally, it's whatever partnership we put, they look defensively solid. Whether it be Malik Chow, whether it be Dan Burn, whether it be Lewis Hall, Tino Livramento, Kieran Trippier, they're all the foundations there. We just need to create more on the other end, but then you might lose that finer balance that we've currently got. So I'm not pressing the panic button as to yet offensively, but defensively, there's no complaints whatsoever with me. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Before I go to you, Jinx, a couple comments here. Mackenzie fan said, "Good point, Justin. 22 seasons, we have plenty of draws and still managed to get top 4."
Hmm.
I want to address this point from NUFC Truth. Big up NUFC Truth. Said, "D-man, 6 points out of 15. How are people laughing? And you think Eddie Howe is going to be a top manager? He's a coward of a manager and needs to leave." Now, just to address a couple of those points, I've never said Eddie Howe's going to be a top manager. Yeah. So I don't know where you got that from. But to say that he's a coward and he needs to leave, no. Like, end of the day, let's be real. He's going to get the season regardless. Yeah. And I'm not going to base him on the first 5 games. Right. End of the day, like, if you looked at our opening fixtures, before we kicked the ball kicked, a lot of people thought we'd lose to Villa. Yes, circumstances changed. We should have won, but we got a point. Yeah. A lot of people would lose to Bournemouth and Liverpool. We lost to Liverpool due to Bournemouth. Yes, Levy should have beaten. We've beaten Wolves, right? It's not panic stations yet. I'm not saying things will get significantly better, but at the same time, I don't think you can judge it the whole season on the first 5 or 6 games. You know what I mean? So, yes, Eddie Howe has a lot to figure out, but that's what he's paid to do. You know, we look at last season, before we went on that 10-game run, a lot of people were calling for his head. Yeah. And he turned it around. We got top 5 and we got a trophy. So, end of the day, let's wait and see. Yeah. I'm not saying that things are all rosy, because they're not. I'm not saying he doesn't need to improve, because he does. But to say that man needs to leave now, that I think that's a bit rash, man. I think that's a bit rash. Yeah. But you, Big Yanks, what's your thing about the back 4 or the defense? Should I
No,
say?
I think they're phenomenal. Phenomenal. Oh, sorry. I think they're amazing. I think Pope, you can't drop Pope in any way, shape, or form. And he's done. You can't drop someone that's done nothing wrong at all. Again, as it's been already said, he only conceded against Barcelona and Liverpool, and again, you can't stop that Rashford goal or both the goals. So I think Botman is our best defender. Um, I think Burn is our most passionate and he's integral to the DNA of the squad as well. So it's very difficult. I think it's a good problem to have, but a difficult problem to have. To who do we actually play? I think Chow is a great successor to Share. He may be a little bit shaky now, but I think he will grow once he gets more confident. We'll see his ability grow a lot more because he threads the ball quite well and he can work really well with Waldemar. So Share his technical ability is great and his passing ability is good as well, and he has a shot in him. I think Chow can really set up attacks a lot better than Shaw. You know what I mean? I think Shaw's a better sprayer. But in terms of setting up a quick attack, I think Chow has a lot to show us. So yeah, I think it's phenomenal, especially when we're talking about the centre backs. And the right back and left back haven't been great this season, but again, in due time they'll get better. Both Liverpool and Hall. I
Okay.
think we've got a great back 5 or
Yeah.
4.
I agree with all the points you guys have made, because obviously, Justin said a lot of people are screaming for Ramsdale to start, but the fact that we've got Ramsdale, I think that's brought the best out of Pope, or he's
Yeah,
up to his
yeah, yeah,
game,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
he
yeah,
does
yeah,
not want
yeah.
to be dropped, right? And
Yeah.
right about now, there is no reason to drop him. Yes, we know that he lacks the ability with his feet and stuff, but in terms of shot stopping and how he's been performing at the moment, yeah, you can't really drop him now. And that's for
I
the,
would also say, just
yeah,
sorry to interject, he's in corners. Hope is a phenomenal when it comes to dealing with
yeah,
corners and set plays and
yeah,
crosses.
he's got that
I don't
presence,
think people
yeah.
understand that. Yeah,
Yeah, and then obviously the individual defenders. You know what Berners been performing at a very good level for a long time now. Yeah, so the fact that he's continuing to play is no surprise. Malik Chow, like you said, we showed a lot of promise for the lot since he's come into the team. He showed a lot of promise. The quality, we can see the qualities that he brings. With Botman, it's good to see Botman, complete the game today. Yeah, because we've got the injury doubts, about him, whatever, but it's interesting whether Howe trusts him in a back four now. Like, he always seems to play him now in a back five. Yeah, and when we play four in the back, he doesn't seem to play or doesn't seem to start. So it'd be interesting to see how they manage his fitness, and if they manage to incorporate him into a back four. Because fans are asking for Malik Chow and Botman to be the centre back pairing eventually. So it'll be interesting to see if Howe employs that, and will he drop Dan Burn? That will be the key. Yeah, because Fabian Schär wasn't playing today because of injury. Yeah, had he been fit, would he have started? Remember, two aging centre backs. They can't handle the midweek games and the weekend games all season. So let's see how that happen, how that pans out. Michael said our backline has been quiet. Has been great. It's the attack that needs addressing. PDK says, in my opinion, that was a good squad performance. Interesting. Queen says, I know it's early doors, however, there are more concerns which need addressing as we change players, the formation, the way in which we change our over players in games need changing. It's predictable. Interesting. We got Michael said agree and happy with clean sheet, but goals win games, hence where we sit in the table. Final third is concerning. We had one shot on target today. Now that's the worrying thing. Now about that, have we seen two things? Have we seen this scenario before where we're not scoring goals? We've got problems with the attack, but then later on, it takes one performance, it clicks, and then we start beating teams 2, 3, 4, whatever. And also, what would you rather, like, have defensive stability and then fix the attack, or start off by scoring lots of goals but leaking pure goals and then having to fix the defense after that? What's better from your perspective, Justin?
I think I'm going to go with the second question first. For me personally, as I said earlier, if we win 1-0, 2-1, get 0-0s at Bournemouth, people are under egging Bournemouth. Not you guys specifically, but people are under egging Bournemouth, and they're saying, "Oh, it's only Bournemouth," or "It's only Leeds." Leeds the week before turned over Everton, and they turned over Everton quite convincingly. So for me, if you're winning 1-0, but it's a scrappy performance, at least the defence is solid. And it's a foundation that you can build upon. If you start winning games like what Liverpool are kind of doing, start winning games 3-2, 4-3, X, Y, and Z, there's no real control over a match. You can control a 0-0, nip a 1-0, and then that's it. I think in regards to the results and the performances, it was Brentford last year, wasn't it? We lost to Brentford last year. Everybody was hitting that button. Group chats were going wild, left, right, centre. People calling for Eddie Howe's head. At the end of the day, we forget now that the takeover was only 4 years ago. And if you remember the struggle, and I know we shouldn't look at the past, you should always move forward. But 4 years ago, we were literally the bargain basement bin of the Premier League. What were we playing 4 years ago under Steve Bruce? And people are fast to forget that because of the as we were saying before, Yings. We've had the Lobster, we've had the Champions League, we've won the Cup, won at Wembley, and we want that over and over again. Well, what happens in football is if you sell one of your premier strikers, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to reconform and think of a different plan. Obviously, Wissa's injured as well, so in regards to that aspect, it's what happens when Wissa comes in. I reckon we change formation again, and we
So
go.
is it a
Go on.
case of is it a case of Judge Eddie and this team when the
Mm.
players are fit. Like
Yeah,
it's basically from mid-October onwards.
yeah,
That's when
yeah.
we should be judging.
Because at the end of the day, how many times do we say, and I'm not going to just mention Nick Walmada, I'm going to mention people like Benjamin Sesko, Yikarez as well. People are calling from their heads now. And I'm like, hang on a minute, these guys have only played, respectively, 5, 6 games. So at the end of the day, we've got to judge it from one, when our players are fully fit, absolutely. But two, when people have a series of weeks in the team to obviously gel and obviously see how each other play. And with Wissa and Waltmada, I think we change things again. I think we go 4-4-1-1. But who
Okay.
gets dropped X, Y, and Z is
Well, that would be a
that's not my
good option to
decision.
have and a good problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yinks, what's your thoughts on it?
No, see, I understand Justin's perspective, but I've been eating lobster and steak for too long now, man. I'm not going back to McDonald's. I have definitely cost a lot of people in my group chats, and I haven't got time for that for people to come at me. So Eddie Howe needs to sort things out because for me, everything goes back to what June when our recruitment was poorly done. Like, end of the day, this situation should have been done and dusted before we got here. And it seems as if, again, not to blame anyone, but this whole Isaac situation, which has now blown over into the season, has now impacted our season to a degree. That should have been rectified earlier on. Again, that's why it's very difficult for me to not hold Eddie Howe accountable. Only because I personally believe that this whole striker situation, if it was dealt with earlier and not left so late, we may not be in this. We probably will be in a better situation because everybody will be able to assimilate. The team would assimilate immediately, and we could actually move on into the season. But we are where we are now. Um, I think it's just difficult because my biggest fear was watching pre-season and looking at players actually looking like they don't know what to do when they have the ball. As much as Murphy has been facilitating so well as an attacker, how long is that even reliable? Because Murphy does have his bozo moments whereby it's just like, why do you do that?
Mm.
and then he'll do something world class. And who else? And Barnes has not hit the gears yet. Gordon hasn't been. Well, he got a red card and he hasn't really hit the gears for a while now. Elanga, amazing against Barcelona, but it seems as if we don't know what to do with him. And again, he's more of a transitional player. We're dealing with teams who are ready to put a flat four in front of us and tell us, break us down. If you can't break us down, we're going to hit you in a counter. They literally will give us the ball. And a lot of these teams are willing to have a draw against us. The Bournemouth, a draw is good against Newcastle. Like, yeah, a draw ain't that bad. To Newcastle, we're now seeing the draws not too bad away in Bournemouth. So it's difficult for me
So, do you
some of
think?
the time.
So, and I'll put this to the chat as well. Do you think that the situation that we're in is a lot down to Eddie Howe? Because what they think is, listen, they're saying that this game, even the Barcelona game and the Leeds game, so that's 3 games out of 4, yeah, where he's got it tactically wrong. Yeah, his lineups has been wrong, the tactics have been wrong, and it doesn't seem to be changing, and especially away from home. Because let's be honest, we should have beaten Villa. We should have beaten Leeds, and we should have beat. Well, we played it safe against Bournemouth today. Now, how much is that on Eddie Howe and his tactics? And do you see? 'Cause we know Eddie Howe's stubborn, right?
Yeah.
To a fault. Now, do you think he's got it in his locker to change, especially away from home, or do you think that what, this is as good as it's going to get? And if we're going to get better, we're going to have to get a more tactically inept, adaptable manager. Justin.
I think what's wrong, as well as the tactics, as well as maybe the formation, is the personnel. I think as I've mentioned before, what we've got to do is we've got to judge it from October. Yes, the style of football it's not anti, but we're there not to be beat. But I think when Wissa and Murphy come back,
Ramsey.
Ramsey, I beg your pardon, yeah. When Wissa and Ramsey come back, then we can judge and we can judge properly, because I think then as well, the situation, the circumstance, the personnel will change, and hopefully we see a more frontal attack.
But do you think those are the players to for instance, away from home to break down a low block, or to be more? Do you think with those players we will be more adventurous away from home?
I hope we'll be more adventurous. In regards to the first question you asked, is is that the personnel to break teams down? I think Wissa will provide that spin off on the last man where somebody can play through balls to him X, Y, and Z. I think our style of play hopefully will change with Wissa in. Are they the players to break it down? Possibly, but then the January transfer window I think is very very important for us, and we've got money to spend from what I know of. So at the end of the day, if it's not working, do we back the person that won us a League Cup, got us into Europe twice over 4 years? Yes, but then if not, does things change?
How bad does it have to be? Because remember, listen, the facts are whether we played well or not. Because
Yep,
some were saying we played well in the season, we're creating chances, whatever. Now we've gone the other way, but we're still defensively solid. But like NFC 2 said, we've got 6 points out of 15, right?
yep.
So how bad does it have to get for you to start saying, you know what, maybe we need to look elsewhere? Maybe he's not the guy.
Brentford again. That run of games, that run of performances, that whole load of nonsense that was going through the team, the rumours about Kieran Trippier, this, X, Y, and Z. All of that has to happen again before we start to contemplate getting in somebody else, if that makes sense.
Okay, let me jump on these comments before we go to you, Links. Big up for now. He said the 10-game winning run coincided with Pope not being in the team. We played better without him. Interesting. Michael, it's a great sign that we have these problems of who to play in defence. Agreed. Big up Scott in the building. If we were an ice cream away from home, we would be vanilla.
Low
Interesting.
fat, low sugar as well. Low fat, low sugar. You know what I mean?
And in regard to my question about where to start, whether it's the attack or defence, I need fixing. PDK said always start with a good base, good foundation, which is interesting. I agree. Michael said these Leeds and today forms were poor, but we would have lost those games last season.
And would have lost to Villa too.
Yeah, true.
Remember when Villa spanked us last season away from home?
Yeah. Isak has cost us a few points with him not playing. Villa and Liverpool, we craved a striker, and that's true. And it's just our luck that our main number 9 has now got injured before he kicked the ball for us. So, like we said before, let's see what happens when he's back. Look at this one. I'm missing Jefferson. All I'm seeing is let's get Eddie off, even though it's his damn signings. Well, we're not letting Eddie off because you're right. It is his signings. Big Inks.
Yeah.
Do you think the introduction of Wissa and Ramsey changes stuff significantly, or do you not trust Eddie to change the formation and get things to work, or do you think it's going to be it's more difficult than that?
I think it adds a lot more depth to the squad and a lot more quality. Again, watching, and it was sad to see Willock be a shell of himself. I saw times when there was space, he could barely run into it without having 3 players close him down so quickly. So essentially, he's not the same athlete that he previously was. I remember somebody telling me that all those injuries have now come up, and now we're seeing the ramifications of that much injuries, and especially because he's a dynamic player. And it's a shame we're seeing him. Well, we're seeing him break down in front of us. And that's completely shattered his confidence because I've seen him make a whole lot of mistakes, which we never saw 2 years ago. So I think hopefully Ramsey can improve that particular position. And Wissa, he's my man. He's someone that I do think can get us goals. And he adds a different profile completely when it comes to being a striker. And he enables us to bring the ball a lot more forward and force the ball into the box. Because Waldemada, phenomenal player first and foremost, and I don't want to take anything away from him. He doesn't have the legs to last the 90 minutes at the moment, and he needs the ball played to him. But it seems as if we don't have the players that are, in my humble opinion, willing to lose the ball like that. Because he just wants the ball anywhere, like pull it. I'm gonna just pass it to me. While we're so used to playing out wide and then crossing it in, and I don't think we have the players that have the fortitude to even do that at this moment of time. Maybe when Gordon comes on, it might be completely different. Maybe, but yeah, or maybe it's just this one game. Because at the end of the day, he ain't played that much minutes for me to make that damning condemnation to the team. So I haven't seen enough. But like Wardemar seems like he just wants to connect. Just give me the. I want to connect. And I don't feel like some of our players are on that wavelength at this moment of
It
time
might
yet.
take a while to get used to that.
Yeah.
Justin, are you concerned the fact that we're all like not pinning our hopes, but we're expecting Wissa to effectively hit the ground running and change the way we play, help us score more goals? But if he does that, yeah, he's only here for a couple of months before he goes against the African nations. So are we going to be back to this scenario around the Christmas time where we're struggling for goals? We're playing to not lose, and maybe taking a point here or there away from home. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I think the next, and this is going to be a real catch-22 for me to say, the next run of games that we've got are, inverted commas, easier, especially away from home. But you would say a promoted team like Leeds, we should go over to Leeds and turn over Leeds. But as I said before, in regards to them turning over Everton, maybe Eddie Howe saw that and thought, hang on a minute, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z because I've only got Ozula up front. So in regards to when Wissa comes back, yeah, great, absolutely. Gordon comes back as well. And obviously in regards to Ramsey too, Ramsey comes back in October. Yes, in regards to the African nations, Wissa goes away. But when does the Af Nations start? Is it January?
Yeah. And
so in regards to that, you'd hope either Osula gets up to speed. I don't know if that will happen, or you go into the market again and get somebody on loan, or you get somebody permanently, one or the other, in regards to another striker. Because Wissa being missing again doesn't bode us any favours whatsoever, because it might be back to square one where we're scraping for the draws, the counter attacks. What we want, what we want is, when we got Gordon and Elanga in the team, you want teams to try and break us down, and then we pen them in on the counter. It's simple, basic football coaching, isn't it? But at the end of the day, when teams are playing low block against us,
we struggle.
Yeah.
It's happened. It's happened over the years, and then people are saying, "Oh, bring in people like Harvey Elliott, X, Y, and Z." Those creative midfielders.
But How doesn't play with that, and that's the problem. Like, he doesn't play with a floating number 10.
No.
He doesn't seem to want to, because all the players that we're linked to, like we was linked to that El Canoes for about 3 days, and then that just died down. You know what I mean? And that would have been a good signing for us. But then we got Ramsey. I'm not against a Ramsey signing, but why not get both? You know what I mean? So we can switch it up. But maybe maybe he's that limited tactically that he doesn't trust himself with a number 10. But we'll see in it. Smash the likes, people. Get the like count up. Help the channel grow. Let the people know where we are and that. Scott said, let me read some of these comments. Just hold that for a minute. He said, we've only conceded 3 goals in the league. Well, once Wissa is available, then the goals will start to come, I think. PDK, after all he's done, how can you not trust Howe? NUFC 2 said, it's the same squad as last year, minus Isak. No excuses. Or are we Isak FC gone? Because I'm 15 players are, because the 15 players are still there. Listen, we're not Isak FC, but we've had, like, again, if this had come in and played, I think it's a different story. But we're bringing in Voltemade, who like you said, is not the out and out number 9. He's coming to a new league. He can't do the 90 minutes at the moment, so he's going to need time to adapt, and our players are going to need time to adapt to his style of play as well. Because there was a time where he was kept on gesturing to people, play it to my feet, because that's his strengths, kind of thing. And like you said, do we have the players to have got that now to do that and run off him at the moment? I don't know. But eventually, I think that side of things will work. He said Sunderland are still above us, and that's sackable. Big up Kim Cam in the building. Much appreciated. Smash the like on your way in. Hope you have done as well. Michael said, Howe gets the club inside out, like Kevin Keegan and Bobby did. This club is an absolute pressure cooker and could ruin an elite manager. Interesting. I know a lot of people are screaming for, they may be a bit upset that Jose Mourinho's taking the Benfica job. I am not one of them, because I do not want that guy anywhere near my club.
No, he's finished.
Yeah, he's done out here. Queen said, Wissa has not yet played for Newcastle, has he? And he's been injured. Typical luck, innit? That's what we do at the moment. Yinks, what was you going to say before I started reading the comments?
No, I was just saying, I think one of the issues again is this with the loyalist approach that Howe does have to players, and and that's I think why we're probably in the pickle that we're in right now, because essentially we didn't move on the players at the right time and bring players of the same ability or better in the squad. So, because at the end of the day, you want different, like with especially us as Newcastle. I think one thing that we need to come to realization is a point against Newcastle is a good point to any team. You know what I mean? Top to bottom. So essentially, outside of the top five or top four, everyone's willing, even Tottenham as well, they will take a point at Newcastle and they'll be happy with it. So essentially, hence why we always see the low block game after game after game. And the only time we really have a transitional match is against the better teams, even like a Barcelona. So that enables a lot of managers to have schemes against our players. And that's why we don't see Harvey Barnes not being in the mouth, like not knowing what to do when there's no space in front of him and or pass it back, or Gordon tends to run into nowhere. So it's about what does Eddie Howe do to be able to eliminate that particular threat? Because essentially, who do we even rely on? And I think Walter Mod is again, like a dynamite in this particular situation, and it's a very good nuance in terms of the profile of player. But how do we adapt to that? Because essentially, he could sh- show more, or we could see a bigger impact from Walter Moller than Isak gave us. But again, does Eddie Howe know how to do that? And I guess we'll see.
Okay. Big up Curtis in the build, said, yo guys, hope you're all blessed. I think Nick was bought as a number 10 to play Vissa. Listen, there's no excuses. Let's see what when Vissa comes back, is he going to play them together, or how often is he going to play them together? And is he going to do it away from home? It'll be very interesting to see. Marco locked in, said, Eddie's choice of player is starting to bite NUFC on the arse. We are desperate for a playmaker. Recruitment is the problem. And, you know, we have touched on that. I do believe that. And listen, when the sporting director eventually does arrive, because I don't know what's going on there, but maybe he would get the free range to go for these kind of players. And, you know, maybe Eddie's waiting for that particular playmaker to come, and he can work his magic with him, because right about now there's nothing to suggest that he likes to work with a creative 10. And you look at the likes of, I know Florian Wirtz hasn't hit the ground running, but Liverpool have got one in. Spurs have got Xavi Simons in. Yeah. Chelsea got Cole Palmer anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, even City bought Cherky, who's now injured, whatever. But, that seems to be the way forward. Yeah. Arsenal got Eze. You know what I mean? They've already got Odegaard. But, it's time that we start, keeping up with the Joneses and stuff, because, the way we play, especially with the 4-3-3, it works maybe 70% of the time, but it's the 30% that we need to, if we're going to kick on, we're going to have to be able to break down a low block, right? And do that, you need more creativity. And we need a manager that's going to use that creativity, utilize it. So if he's going to be more successful here, he's going to have to adapt. He's going to have to change it up. And, let's see. I know Justin said maybe in January might make 1 or 2 signings and stuff. I'm not too positive about that. I'm not too optimistic, but we'll see.
I think as well as that, just before we go on, I think football's changing. I think football's changing back. If you look at City now, if you look at City against Arsenal this afternoon, they completely done away with playing out from the back. It's pinged up, straight route one, here we go. And it's back to the 90s in regards to, the Barclays years. And it's like, hang on a minute, Pep, you're the one who brought in this, we play out from the back, and you see teams in League One, League Two, AFC Wimbledon, X, Y, and Z all do it. And now all of a sudden it's reverted back. So football's ever changing. And obviously in regards to adaptation, you guys are exactly right. You guys have said it more than me, that we need to keep up with the Joneses and obviously keep up with the times. Do you know what I mean?
NUFC Truth, I don't know if you're actually listening to what we're saying. Like, we're not agreeing with everything that Eddie Howe's done here. We're questioning his tactics, the recruitment, all of that. Yeah. So I know you're frustrated, but keep up, man. Keep up. You know what I mean? But big up anyway. Curtis says, random question, but would you like to know, if you guys' opinion, if Isak scores against us, do you think he celebrates after the way it ended? I don't know if you mentioned Isak on this channel. Well, we try not to, but we do now and again. I think he does celebrate, No. To be fair, I don't think he does. I don't think he
No,
does.
he'll celebrate.
Yeah,
No. You know.
he who shall not be named won't celebrate. He'll keep it mute. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot that we don't know in regards to that transfer,
Yeah.
and if and when it does come out, it comes out. But right now he looks happy. He might be happy for a couple of years, then go Real Madrid. This whole saga might come again. But he who shall not be named, I don't think he celebrates us against us, Curtis. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
He
Let's
ain't
talk.
doing no Adebayo.
No, he ain't
Nah,
that
nah,
silly, bro. He ain't that
boy,
silly. But
boy.
let's talk about some of these individual performances, right? We spoke about Malik Chow and stuff like that, but what were your thoughts on Voltemader's overall performance, Inks?
Well, I think it was again. I think it's phenomenal. I think he's such a talented player with being 6'6" and having the ability. And I like that type of player who can actually build like he can build an attack as long as the ball's to his feet. Again, he's very like, as long as you play around him, then he can open up the doors. But again, do we have the players that will play around him to be able to feed him? And I think that's the problem. I think he can only do with what he can only do as so much with if you're not as as a striker. Sorry, if you're not providing anything, there's nothing you can really do. So you can only do what he can do if he's getting the ball, and we weren't getting the ball to him enough. Like, I think only like 2 or 3 touches inside the box. You know what I
Okay.
mean? That doesn't make no sense for the whole
Okay.
game.
Justin, what were your thoughts?
I think in regards to what Marder, you see him against Wolves, and obviously I was there at the Wolves, I was there at St James's Park, there for the 90 minutes. And you can see, as Inks has said, in regards to link-up play, it's absolutely phenomenal. I've never seen a modern player for Newcastle United want the ball to feet so much. So at the end of the day, we've got to build a team around him, and you've got to have your runners. So if you look at, for example, against Wolves, the link-up play he did with Murphy, the little 1-2 bang shot just went wide. We can do a lot more of that. That brings another level of play that we haven't really seen. Especially if you look at He Who Shall Not Be Named, the way we played against with him last year, it was to him. He would do his bit, bang, just like the goal against Liverpool, 3-3, the one that went like 150 million miles an hour. So at the end of the day, for for me personally, that's your plan B in regards to Newcastle United. We've got to build a team and we've got to build our link-up play with Waltmada linked in, because if not, his play and the reason why we bought him in is almost useless.
But
Okay.
if you look, even the Barcelona goal, the way he was able to actually draw the
There you
centre
go.
back in
There you
with
go.
him as well, which
Yeah.
enabled Murphy to get the space. That's not something we've seen with Isak. Not to be Isak to a degree did that, but Isak wasn't the great at holding the ball at all.
Mm.
But Waldemar actually offers that. So yeah, I think that we've got a talent there. It's just we have to bring the best out of him.
Mm.
Yeah. Like Scott said, he reminds me of mix
Burbs.
between Crouch and Berbatov.
It's
That's
Burbs.
a good.
Yeah.
Mm.
good-
It's Burbs.
Not Crouch, Berbatov, not Crouch.
Yeah,
Burbs. Yeah.
bit more
Crouch.
refined than
Crouch.
Crouch in it. But yeah, I see what you're saying though. But no,
I
I
hear it.
think he played it pretty well okay today. Like I said, the ball to his feet, we saw the quality there. You know what I mean? And he had his one of a few touches, the one where he's, got Murphy in and stuff like that. So listen, he needs more minutes. He's getting used to it, but it's going to take a while. Actually, it's a shame that Biss is not there with him. But what were your thoughts about? Well, Marco said Voltemada was getting frustrated because there was no runner. Interest, yeah, true. To be fair,
Mm.
because there was times where we use it basically the wing backs were meant to be the runners, but they were sitting along the back in the back line. When he gets the ball, there were no runners, none
Mm.
whatsoever. Like,
None.
But it'll be taking,
especially,
you know, the Trippier space where Trippier is always there and you just
yeah,
that Trippier space, they'll be there.
it would take a while to get used to that. But just briefly, what were your thoughts on Lewis Miley, and Joe Willock, Justin?
I think with Lewis Smiley, we've missed the boat. I think we've missed the boat because of the Champions League. We've missed the boat because maybe our recruitment, in regards to people like Nixon, Eddie Howe not having a summer holiday and having to do the transfer business, X, Y, and Z. I think Lewis Smiley should have gone on loan this season, just to make sure that he gets 80 to 90 minutes every week. I think, can we afford to give him a run of matches? Probably not. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't sub him for any of the other three that we've got starting matches. I think today a lot of people said, "Oh, he does a lot of sideward passes. He reminds me of a young David Batty," and I was like, "Hang on a minute. David Batty actually did something defensively as well." So for me personally, it was a bang average performance in regards to Lewis Miley. But the last time you tell me the last time he's done something.
Well, this is the thing about Miley, right? Because it's similar to the Anderson situation, right?
Yeah.
Where there was a lot of hype around him, and he's the next one coming through, whatever.
Mm,
And then his game time was limited,
mm,
and we can understand why, because our midfielders performing how they're performing, and even now more so for Miley.
mm,
But when you're getting the opportunity, I'm not really seeing what you bring to the team. You seem to be
mm,
playing with the handbrake on. You're playing it safe, playing it
mm.
cautious, sideways and backwards, and you look tidy on the ball, but there's nothing. There's no penetrating passes. You know what I mean? There's no dynamism. Like I don't know what your strengths are. And listen, I have no doubt you're a very good player, and you probably do need more minutes, and maybe, like you said, it needs to go on loan and that. But there's nothing to me to justify getting a starting berth at this present time.
I think what
Oh yeah,
you've
go
got to
on.
realise as well is that what's his instruction? Is he being told to play that way? Because if he is, and the handbrake's on because Eddie Howe's telling him to put the handbrake on, then the gear shifts a little bit. But if he's just playing it safe because he's a young lad and he doesn't want to make a mistake and he doesn't want the long staff treatment, is what I'll call it, then we start to raise questions and start to raise X, Y, and Z as to what we're doing tonight, if that makes sense.
Okay, Marco says we are short in midfield because of injuries. We would have been Donald ducked without Miley as backup. Queen says, is Miley playing safe to ensure he doesn't get injured again? He is another player coming back from injury. Interesting.
Possibly, yeah.
Kim Cam says Miley's not up to it, just a hype, nothing special. Yinks, what's your thoughts on Miley?
What was that? Miley's what, 19 or 20?
Something
20.
around that. Yeah, 20, I think
I think
now.
it's 19.
Well, 19, I
Think,
don't know.
what?
I don't know. He's
I think
young.
you brought up Anderson, but we got to remember with Anderson, he got a very good loan. I think out to Sheffield Wednesday. I don't know
It
who
was
he
Bristol Rovers.
Bristol Rovers. That's
Yeah,
it. He did really well in that.
Yeah.
So I think the comparison may be a little unfair, just based upon the fact that Anderson did get a run of games. But, yeah, he was very passive. He didn't. It seemed like he could have been instructed to be passive. I
Mm.
don't know. There was no impetus to be able to thread it, like show some decisiveness or take the game by the scruff of his neck like Tonali was, or get your kit. It looked like he didn't want to get his kit dirty. If I have to be quite frank and honest. And yeah, currently, uh, again, because he's so young and he is talented, I think there's so much more we're gonna see from him. I'll wait to hold my judgment on him. I think today's game wasn't the best game to play him in. If I had to be quite frank and honest, I'd probably say maybe Barcelona would have been better for him to play, because he can make the mistakes and nobody. Again, we have so many games in Europe, and we're not tasked to do really well in Europe, in my humble opinion. But the domestic games are important. We have to win those games.
Okay.
So, mate, yeah, that's my personal opinion. I don't want to get ridiculed on that, but yeah, yeah.
Kim Cam said if he was that good, he would be snapped up long time ago by the Mafia. Big Up Phil said Miley needs to go out and loan to the Championship. He's only 19. He needs to get a bit of aggression in his game. Too soft and easy to play against. Again, he's only 19. Interesting. And on the flip side, what about Joe Willock? Quickly on Joe Willock, Yinks. What's up with
No,
you,
it's
Yinks?
sad to say, man. I've got a tear in my eye, man. That's my got love for Joe Willock. But the problem is he's not the same player. Again, the injuries has taken a toll on him. I think I saw one breakaway, and normally we see Willock dynamic, wrong, running with strength. But I saw three players. Once he got to the halfway line, I saw three players around him, and he his pace is pivotal to his playing style. And since he's losing a lot of his athleticism, we're starting to see his confidence go as well. Poor passes, the ball will come, like just doing stupidness. And I think maybe we saw the wrong midfielder. Maybe we should have kept Longstaff and got rid of Willock, which
Ooh, that's a
screams
good
volume.
play.
Yeah.
My thing, because I was a big fan of Willock, right? And like you said, it seems that the injury's taken his toll. It's affected his confidence, and he must. We know these players read social media, innit? And no one seems to be
Mm.
rating him now. My thing is that his strength has now become his weakness, right? Because we know about his ball carrying ability, right? But if you take today, a lot of the time he's taking the ball when he gets it and he's running to blind alleys. You know, he's just running for the sake of running with the ball, not thinking about where the rest of the team are or tactically about it. He's just running to get up the pitch. And when he gets there, he's like, right, what do I do now? And
Do I
he's
do that?
losing the
Yeah.
ball, poor passes, like you say. He seems to be like, you know, when he was linked to, I think, Fulham in the summer, a lot of fans were like, yeah, take the money, take the money, take the money. And then obviously it didn't materialize. And then when you see him coming on against Barcelona, you think, what are we doing? Like, you know what I mean? And no fault of his own, but he's not that guy anymore. And, you know, you expect him to have kicked on from now. When he first joined, you know, he was on fire. We all know that the goal scoring streak that he was on, justifying, you know, the price tag that we paid for him. And then since then, the highlight has been that pass to Isak against Tottenham, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was how many seasons ago? So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Justin, what's your thoughts on it?
I think you're exactly right. I think there's certain players in that squad that we've got now that are still under the Steve Bruce era. And I think, let alone Fulham in the summer, when we went to the Champions League the first time around, I think that's when we should have cashed in on Joe Willett, so to speak. I think, as you guys have said, you've got to have pace, you've got to have purpose when you're a professional football player. And when you don't have purpose, when you're running into those blind alleys, and that might not be entirely his fault. Other players might not be doing the decoy runs for him to go forth and do his thing, so to speak. But then when you're passing into blind alleys, you've got, where's your purpose? What's your job? What's your role? That's what you're told in any level of football. If you don't know what your job, what your role is, why are you playing football? Long story short. And I think with Joe Willett, obviously, as you said, the rumours about Fulham, we all heard those rumours. Crystal Palace as well. He was at Crystal Palace, you know, for, I don't know what he was there for, but he openly stated on Instagram that I'm there at Crystal Palace. And you're thinking, hang on a minute, is this actually going to materialise or not? And I think for me, the trigger should have been pulled ages ago in regards to Joe Willock. But as you said, Yinks, in regards to loyalty, you know, at the end of the day, has he been too loyal to Joe Willock?
Is he going to be the next Callum Wilson? You know what I mean? Just hanging around there and taking up space. You know what I mean? Afraid to sell him. You know what I mean? Because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to be starting to getting ruthless about things. But there's a couple of comments about him. Mark said he just runs into people. It's his brains with Willock or lack of. Kim Camp said Wilcock will be joining Ramsey soon. He does not last. Bad news, honestly. Adrian said, if Willock hadn't been injured so much, we would have sold him instead of Longstaff. Yeah.
He conveniently gets injured in transfer window with groin injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Phil said, do you remember a time when Willock was keeping Gordon out of the team, interchanging with Big Joe? I do. And that's when I still had hopes of him recreating that kind of magic, you know what I mean? Because like I said, them days when he was playing them passes to Isak and that, he was a key member of the team, man.
Yeah, but that was mad. That was mad. But
you know, I think it's what's crazy, just that, like, especially like with that much injuries, and let's say he's not the same athletic individual, his mind is telling him I can do this, but his body's just not doing it. It's a sad case, if I'd be quite frank honest. Hopefully he can recover his confidence, because I think that's the main thing. He had no confidence in any way, shape, or form, and I don't know, and it's difficult because in Howe's system, he has to play out wide or in centre midfield, and centre midfield is the most pivotal position you can play.
Yeah.
So he can't make a mistake. So if he's not confident, centre midfield will show you up regularly. So I maybe think he may either needs to find another club where he can build his confidence up and maybe change the style of play, because I don't think you'll find that at Newcastle anymore. Only because you're competing against Joe Linton, you're competing against Tonali, Bruno Ramirez,
Now Ramsey.
and now Ramsey. You know what I mean? So it's only gonna get worse. And so if as a brother, I'll be like, bro, like you might have to find somewhere else so you can get your confidence back minimum, because this is not gonna happen at Newcastle.
No, I hear that. All right, so keep smashing the likes, people. Get the likes up and that. Much appreciated, and appreciate the comments coming in as well. All right, so where does that leave us now, right? Because we've got Bradford in the cup next week on Wednesday, which I'll be going to. Justin, I believe you're going to as well.
Yes, sir. I'm sitting next to you.
Yeah, man, we're there, and but we've got Arsenal at the weekend. right? Now, we don't know the injury situation, if it changes throughout then, whatever. But as it stands now, are you both confident of putting the performance against Arsenal and actually beating them? Yeah, I'll start with you, Justin.
I think if you bring in Joey and you make it physical, you bring back Bruno, you make it physical. We turn up as a crowd. It's a Sunday 4:30 kickoff, if I'm not mistaken. And if you turn up, the crowd turn up. It's a big game. I think the only benefactor that Arsenal have got that they haven't had before is Gyökeres. In regards to Zubimendi, et cetera, they're still very defensive. We saw against Man City for the majority of the match, it was bland. Just like what you said at the start in regards to how you described us Yanks at the very start against Bournemouth, it was bland. And then until the 70th, 80th, 90th minute, obviously then it turned around and Martinelli, who had no time to think, obviously chipped the keeper and made it 1-1. For me personally, if we turn up and make it physical, they still can't handle us.
Okay. Jinx, what do you reckon?
If we come physically, I think it's a game that we can win. I think it'll probably be one of our easiest games we can win if we do beat Arsenal, only because they're not going to play a low block against us. They're coming for the 3 points. So it's machine for machine now. You know what I mean? So hopefully, and we haven't still seen Alanga and Watermeada play together. So we don't know if that system will work within itself. So that could be something that hope. Oh, Gordon or Watermeada as well. So again, this is something that could be something new to look forward to, especially with today. We didn't see the press. You know the Gordon press. Like we didn't see that
And
press
he's back for the
today.
game. He's back for the game.
He's back for the games, and that's pivotal to how we play now. So essentially, having Elanga and Watermeada and what's his name and Gordon, we might see that again. So I'm
Okay.
hopeful.
What one thing for sure, what I can pretty much guarantee is going to be a low scoring game. Yeah, because Arsenal don't tend to score many goals, especially away from home, and we know our goal scoring incapabilities. Marco says goal scoring worries me because I can't see Arsenal not scoring. Phil said Man City did the Newcastle 5 at the back at the end against Arsenal. Interesting. I mean, listen, we tend to turn up against Arsenal, especially at home. We make it difficult for them. They have very little shots on goal against us, let alone on target. So as defensive solid as we are, I'm expecting us to be the same against them. Yeah, we can beat them. Whether we will remains to be seen. But that would be a very big confidence boosting win if we can get that under our belt. But then after that, I think we're away to Unis SG in the Champions League, right? Now,
Yeah.
do you see us approaching that game how we approached Leeds and Bournemouth with the back five and trying to keep it tight and nicking a goal, Justin?
I sincerely hope not. I sincerely hope that we play 4-3-3 and we show Union SG exactly what we're about. Because if we go to try and get a point and not to lose against Union SG, there's a big problem. Because if you look at our 1 to 11 compared to theirs, there's only one winner. At the end of the day, don't get me wrong, you should never underestimate your opponent. You should never underestimate anybody in the Champions League. But if we don't line up how we usually line up with that 4-3-3, I don't know what's going on there. If we turn out with 5 at the back.
Okay, Yinks.
No, that's a must win. We have to win that game. If To be fair, if we were to start playing five at the back, knowing Eddie Howe and his loyalist system, I won't be surprised because Burn has to play, and the way he does it as well with like left centre back. So that means either Burn or Botman. So, and I don't know if he'll tinker with it. So I won't be surprised if he plays five at the back. It's a must win. Even the Arsenal game because right now teams are getting better. This is not and that's my biggest fear. Like they'll leave us as they're moving forward, and they'll leave us fighting it out for like top 10 or something like that when we should be fighting for the Champions Leagues. So we need to start getting numbers on the boards. It's essential. These
Yeah,
we can't. Yeah, we need to start getting
yeah.
them.
We need to, you know, make a statement. You know what I mean? Get the win
Yeah.
there and get our Champions League campaign up and running. Yes, we can't underestimate them, but we should be looking to win there. We are the better team. We've got the better players. We should be looking to go there for a win. But whether Howe does that, I think he's going to go approach it very cautiously. He'll be happy to get a point on the board, and then whoever we place at home next time, try to go for it then. But time will
That's a
tell.
quick question then. Can I ask a
Yeah.
quick question? Do you believe Howe actually plays matches where he's willing to lose? Because I think every manager should be putting a system in where they play the best available team to win that particular game. And I've said this pertaining to Howe doesn't mind taking L's here and there, and he sets up. Because I remember the whole Trippier situation when at Bournemouth 2 years ago. I personally believe Howe didn't play the best available team to win the game. He played and that's my biggest fear pertaining to him. Does he actually? Because even
No.
the whole Isaac situation, I don't feel like he's very systematic. Like, we're gonna win this game, but I don't mind losing this game. And this game, if we get a draw, hey, good.
The only I think on occasion, a lot of the time he sets up not to lose, especially away from home, right? But the only occasion where I think he really said, "All right, we're gonna lose this game. I'm not gonna go all out." Yeah, was Liverpool away last season. I think he deliberately changed the tactics, changed the style of play, to catch Liverpool out for the cup final, and I think he saw it as a free hit. You know what I mean? So I think he didn't deliberately we're gonna set out to lose, but he said, "Look, if we lose, we lose, isn't it? Like this is not what we're going to be judged upon." And I think because we played Liverpool in the final, I think he deliberately, the lineup was very not weak, but very different. The tactics were very different, very negative, very very negative. And I think he did that on purpose. I don't think he goes out saying, "Yeah, we're going to take it out today." You know what I mean? I think it's let's not lose. I think it's unlikely we're going to win, but let's not lose. Let's protect what we've got. And if we sneak something, great. If we don't, then at least we're like today. I think you set up not to lose. You know what I mean? Which if we're going to be again, if we're going to evolve, we're going to need managers that go out to win every game. Yeah, and you play to your opponent to the best squad possible, FC team possible, best formation possible to win the game. Yeah, and that's the difference between good managers and elite managers. Yeah, now don't get me wrong, you can't be like an Ange Postecoglou, like, you know what I mean, and guy, we're going to attack, whatever, just to score more goals in opposition. No. But you need a manager that's going to say, all right, this is their strength, this is their weakness, but we are who we are. We can beat them. Let's set up like this. Yeah, and I don't think at the moment Eddie Howe is that kind of manager. It's enough. Listen, it's enough to get, like we've seen, to get top five, whatever. But if you're going to start challenging for major honours, and that's half the reason why Arsenal don't win the leagues, because they're too cautious. Yeah, they go out to not lose first and foremost. Yeah, rather than Liverpool go out to win every game. The Man City of old go out to win every game. You know what I mean? All these champions go out to win every game and expect to win every game. You know, maybe it's the personnel that we've got, maybe it's the manager that we've got, but we're right now, we're not that team, man. We're not that
I
team.
think I think it's a bit of both. I think what you've just mentioned in regards to manager and personnel, I think in regards to the personnel that we had, especially if you look at a couple of seasons ago, we get thumped every year at the Etihad. I've been there, sometimes in the freezing cold, and we get smashed by Man City because we're still playing players such as Dubravka, such as Jamal Lascelles, such as X, Y, and Z. So the personnel is a big aspect of it. But in regards to what you said as well, that the managerial aspects, you only can look at, for example, the League Cup semi-final against Arsenal. We got 1-2 up, didn't we? And then all of a sudden we played 5-5-0. So we've adapted and obviously closed out the game. So at the end of the day, for me, it's around about 50-50 in regards to personnel and manager. Obviously, if we had we've got one of the best midfields in the Premiership. We had one of the best strikers in the Premiership. But then, and we got, at the end of the day, and we hit top four. This season for me is a really telling season, because if we can manage to still get top five after the summer that we had, that whole debacle of he who shall not be named, amongst other things, then we can then push on and say we've got the money now. Let's get the personnel, and then let's see what happens next. Because if we can test the top four and really test for a title challenge, whilst appearing on all fronts as well, then we're laughing. But then if not, if Hal gets his personnel in 1 to 11 and then 1 to 17 or 18, whatever, and we're still playing around against Leeds, still playing around against Bournemouth, rather than going forth and trying to win games, then there's a slight issue, isn't there?
Okay, okay. What would you say to answer your own question? What do you reckon?
It's hard for me because it's just like today I, I didn't understand the fomentation, and after such a good game in Langerhans and how dangerous he was, just for his confidence, I would have started him and put Murphy on the left, sorry, Murphy on the right and Elanga on the left, and done the 4-3-3. I didn't mind the five in the back because I wanted to see Chow. I don't believe Howe plays the best available squad to win particular games on a regular basis. I think there have been other factors that played into why he played particular position, people in particular positions. Like I think Lewis Hall not playing for how long and he has been fit or been on the bench doesn't make sense because he prefers to play Trippier. Especially after I think even the Leeds game, I don't think Trippier was the greatest. The Barcelona game I thought was perfect for Lewis Hall to play. Again, I don't understand the logic of why not playing him and putting Livramento on the right. And this is where I'm thinking that is how okay is he okay with again like today's draw 0-0? Is he okay with that? Because for me, for the amount of money that he spent, if we put into context, it's abysmal. I'm not idea how out, by the way. We have to hold him accountable based upon the resources given to him, like every other team. And looking at like the way Bournemouth were able to Bournemouth didn't play well themselves, but we shouldn't be having an XG of 0.14 against Bournemouth. Doesn't make
Yeah,
sense. As
that's
good
unforgivable.
as Bournemouth
That's
has been,
yeah.
you know what I mean? But if we contextualize, we shouldn't at all. And this is where, like, and I'm not, I won't be happy to hear how be like, yeah, well, we tried. You spent how much money, bro? For how many years? The team should be developed to a point where, at least, regardless of ease at going or staying, we should be at a point where we're causing issues or ruckuses to Bournemouth. And I personally believe the starting 11 he played today, we could have played a better starting 11, taking into consideration the amount of games of taking into consideration that we still want to rest players as well at the same time. Because I don't mind Bruno Guimaraes not playing, but Joe Linton should have probably started, to be
Yeah,
fair.
one of them
You know
should
what I
play.
mean?
Yeah,
He should have played at least, you know what I mean? And again, you now introducing Murphy up front, just for vibes, doesn't make sense. Play him in his rightful position and be a little bit risky and put Elanga out wide because obviously Barnes ain't been playing well, and that's what I don't like about him. It doesn't make
okay.
because he's not being held to the standard based upon the resources he's been given.
Well, this is like Age said, Justin, you're right. It's a crunch year. Now, you're right because end of the day, obviously, when the players are back, like I'm talking the Wissers and the Ramses, right? Eddie Howe has zero excuses in the sense that this is now his squad. Yeah, he can pick an 11 of all his purchases, right? So yes, there's some players from the Steve Bruce area, but the majority of them have gone now. Yeah, he's now got a squad. Yeah, he's shown today that he can utilize he's willing to utilize his whole squad. Right, we've got quality in every position now. Yeah,
Mhm.
so this is where we need to see tactical flexibility. You know what I mean? More adventure away from home, more creativity, yeah, and more consistency. None of these defeats to like Fulham at home, West
Luton.
Ham
Luton.
at home. You know what I mean? All them things they're struggling like that, and we need to see that we're able to break down a low block. Now that will be judged when Vissa and Baltimore are on the same pitch, or when they're both available, and Ramsey. Yeah, I'm expecting. Yes, more creativity is needed, but that should be enough to break down a low block. We've all said that Baltimore there's more of a 10 than a 9, so you can play them both together. It'd be interesting
Yeah.
to see when he does do that how we fare. But to me, there's no excuses. Now, the last question I'll ask you guys now is, where does that leave us going forward, right? Do you think things will change for the better? Is Eddie Howe the man? And what are your expectations for the remainder of the season? I'll start with you, Yinks.
I think it's Champions League or bust. Um, my only biggest fears personally is that the talent pool in the Premier League is severely increased. Like, end of the day, there's players that we were laughing at. If we said, "Oh, Rashford," everyone would be like, "No, we don't want Rashford," and he scores two against us. So it's now is up to the manager. Is he going to make the right decisions at the right time? And it's pivotal because even with the Barcelona game, I personally believe that he should have made changes a lot more earlier. This 60-minute waiting to change, it doesn't make any sense. Harvey Barnes should have been hooked immediately, and Murphy should have stopped, been put on the right and Elanga on the left. And I don't think, and that's my biggest thing when it comes to Eddie Howe, his decision making is quite poor. And with teams getting better, managers like Iraola doing a phenomenal job at Bournemouth, his old stomping ground. That's where my biggest fears are. Is that have we evolved to the point where we're still better than the teams that were with us, or is there a possibility that these teams are actually getting better, maybe getting better than us, and even though we spent more money, because we're being very quiet, but Palace is doing they're doing quite well as well. You know
Undefeated.
what I mean?
Undefeated.
Undefeated. And that, so there's a lot of this. The competition itself has got a lot harder, and we can't be talking about low block, low block, low block, low block, because we've been saying this for the past 2 seasons now. So it's what do we do? And again, looking at the goal that we scored against Barcelona, obviously Gordon's not playing. We even played that squad together who did that combination. No, I haven't seen it yet. So we'll wait and see. I don't want to predict anything until we get further into this season. But hopefully he makes the right corrections, and we see a more fluent ball flowing team. And it's possible because I do think we have that. The squad is good enough to be that particular team because we do have a phenomenal squad.
Okay, Justin.
I think this is the best 1 to 18 that we've had in a lot of years. You look at the 2000s, even in regards to certain players from that outlook, we didn't really have this depth that we've got now from 1 to 18. So for me, in regards to if Eddie Howe's the right person, at this moment in time, the answer is yes, because that's his personnel. As Yinks has said, these are all his players. Don't get me wrong, you might have your ones and twos from Steve Bruce's era, but in regards to the squad, this is now his squad. So is he the right person? For now, the answer is of course yes. Where we will finish this season, what I'm hoping is this: we have decent cup runs, FA Cup as well as League Cup. If we win one of those, grand. Top six. I can tolerate top 8 because, as you said, Yinks, the floor's rising in regards to the Premiership. Even teams like your Bournemouth, Vieira, you got Thomas Frank at Spurs now.
Yeah,
The revival's coming there in regards to
yeah,
the place where I used to work in regards to Tottenham Hotspur. Man United, I don't see crawling out of that cesspit anytime soon. But in regards to like even your Everton.
yeah.
Your Evertons are looking banging again. So there's no place where I'm picking on the United Kingdom map where I'm thinking, yeah, that's an easy 3 points. Even Burnley with Scott Parker were playing beg your pardon,
If we
5-4-1.
don't beat Burnley, bruv, yeah,
I'm
home
not
and
saying that we
away,
won't beat
I
Burnley, but
will
I'm saying
riot, bruv.
it won't be as easy as when we slammed them
No, I hear that, bruv. But
5-1.
yeah, I hear it. But Burnley's Burnley at the end of the day, bruv. They're
No,
going down, and
absolutely,
we need to be slapping them.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So at the
What?
end of the day, the floor's rising is what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah.
when people are saying, you're going to Turf Moor, it's an easy 3 points. But hang on a minute, will it really be? It will. If your expectation is we want to slam them 3-4-0, but when we went to Kenilworth Roads, for
It's not
example,
even that, bruv. It's not even that. When the predictions come,
mm,
everyone should be predicting a win there. And I'm saying I'm not saying
yeah,
3-4-0.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
everybody should be predicting a win. Because if we
yeah.
drop points to Leeds and Burnley, I didn't even want to talk about Sunderland, bruv, away. Yeah. But bruv,
Oh,
that will
see,
not be a pretty picture, bruv. You know what I mean?
that's another spinner. Sunderland. If we lose or
Yeah,
draw to Sunderland, then that pressure's going up. It's going up.
yeah.
It's
It's
And
mad.
going
also
up.
we've
It's
got
going up.
midweek games as well. There's a lot more
Yeah.
games and
We play
contentious
Champions League before we play Sunderland,
as
by the
well.
way, away. But
Yeah.
my thing is, I personally will not tolerate top 8, bruv. I'm not. Yeah, I know. You spoke about other teams getting better and better, which I appreciate, but we cannot. We're not a team. Listen, we can't expect to qualify for the Champions League every season,
Mm,
but we can't afford not to. Yeah, for the
mm,
next
Yeah.
couple seasons, like we cannot
mm.
afford because, bruv, I'll tell you for free. We don't qualify for the Champions League this season. Tonali's gone, bro. He's out
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Yeah,
door.
yeah,
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 He's
yeah. I hear
gone.
that.
Yeah, the
I
only
hear
one
that.
staying is Bruno. Yeah,
I hear that.
even Botman
yeah,
might
yeah.
go. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we need to be able
I
to
hear
track
that.
the quality of player and to
Yeah.
keep the quality of player. We have to be a thing where anything but Champions League is a failure. Yes, we'd like an FA
Yeah.
Cup run, a League Cup run, whatever. But if we fail to qualify for the Champions League, that season's a failure. Don't get me wrong, I think we will if it's still top 5 with the coefficient and that. But
Mm,
bruv, if we don't get there, listen, it's scary times, bruv. Look what Villa are doing. Yeah, Villa
mm,
gambled in January to make to make the
mm,
Champions League. It failed, and they're floundering. They are suffering. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? And the likes of Morgan Rogers ain't gonna stay around for much longer. You know what I mean?
mm.
So it's just like we need to do that, man. We need to do that. But
I bet you we make the
mm,
same gamble in January.
I hope
What?
so. Spend.
To
You
buy
mean spend?
players?
I hope so. I
Might
hope
have to.
so.
Yeah.
Because boy, we cannot afford to not make it. You know what I mean? Yes, we've got a new CEO in to hopefully boost our commercial revenue, all that stuff, whatever. But nah, we need players that are wanting to play for us because we're in a Champions League. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's not the one. But NFC True said, D-Man, if he doesn't win 20 games, there won't be no Champions League, and 6 points out of 16. So 7 times 5 is 35 points for the whole season in this form. We're not getting 35 points, bro. Come on, man. Let's be
That's
real.
relegation.
You know what I mean? We're not, bro. Like, we're not. Let's be real. Let's be real. Anton said, is how the man. We have lost one game this season in the league to the champions. We drew against one of the most informed teams and against a team we usually struggle. Poor performance, but a decent point. Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
I think that the
Um,
problem what I see is the performances don't scream volumes. You know, I mean, maybe we're missing. Gordon hasn't played for 3 games. I don't know. And again, we haven't seen Walter Marder play with other players as well. The only player I think was Murphy, and he had a little stint in the Champions League today, which we've only seen him and Murphy play together. So
it,
things could change.
yeah. It could change because listen, before it was we're playing well, but we ain't got a striker, so we would have got more points
Yeah.
on the board. Yeah,
Mm.
we get a striker in. Obviously, he's not used to the Premier League. You know what I mean? But then the performances haven't been great of late, especially away from home. And we're still picking up points, but we're not picking up 3 points each side. So maybe once the personnel's there, we can keep going. But how long can we? That's another month. Gordon's back next game, but it's another month before Risser's back in training. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You don't know if he's going to make the Brighton game. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a bit scary one, isn't it? But Queen says in predictions, I'm dropping points. Not good for someone like me, and I have been a ray of positivity. But squeaky bums will rumble if wins don't begin on easy wins. True. Like I said, that's the likes of Burnley. I'm saying easy wins, but games we should be winning. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Home and
Yeah.
away. Because
I
all
think
it
the
takes
Bradford game is a big game.
is a big game. It's a confidence. It should be a confidence boosting game.
Houston, yeah.
It could go the other way if we don't win. If we don't win, but remember, is it last season? Who did we beat 1-0 in the cup? I think it was
AFC
Fabian
Wimbledon.
penalty. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it could be one of them, bro. It could be one of them.
yeah.
But I think we played someone big after that and we won. So you know what I mean?
Chelsea.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I think that's a good place to leave it. So I want to thank
Yeah.
everybody in the comments for your comments. All welcome. You know what I mean? Kept it good, kept it constructive. I like that. Don't forget to smash a like on the way out if you haven't done so. I want to give thanks to Justin and Big Yinks for both coming in as well. It's been a bit of a slog surviving for the last 2 or 3 pods about Jefferson, but it's all good. You lot help me represent and that. Jefferson should be back for the Arsenal review. The funny thing is that I won't be there because I'll be in Dublin. If not, if we record on a Monday, I'll be there. But for Sunday, I'm not around. So you might have to help Jefferson out with that one, lads.
Gladly.
Yeah. But as usual, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And we'll be back soon. All right. Peace.
Peace.